Hello boys and girls, it's Miss Mulkern again. So yesterday we looked at the book called Far Above Earth, a day on the space station. So we are reviewing main idea. And so with that book, we looked at my example I did about living in space, my central idea, which is my topic, my details, and some responses that I had to it. Then we did one together, central idea, waking up in space, tiny, some details go along with it, and then our response or our connections or what it made us think of. Now, you just watched a video, let me turn the page real quick before we get onto that, about author's purpose. Now, we are reviewing author's purpose as well, because that is something that we tend to struggle with. Now, when I think of author's purpose, you think of pie, but it's not always that simple. Yeah, they may say to persuade you to do something to change your mind, to get you to buy something. This is when we are talking about our argumentative text. It was perfect for persuade. Great examples. Now that's persuade. Then on the video that you watched, it said to inform. Now this is where it's giving you information. That's where that inform comes from. Information. Maybe facts. I always think that is this when I'm going to learn something. Maybe something new, maybe something different. So that's inform. Now this is where it's going to be your nonfiction text. Then your last one that we talk about is entertain, to entertain. Now most of the time this is going to be your fiction text. This is where you enjoy it. It's a fun story, just to entertain you. So author's purpose, persuade, inform, entertain. Now, unfortunately, when we ask you questions, it's not always as simple as persuade, inform, entertain. Maybe it says to encourage the reader to change their mind. Well, that means to persuade. To provide information about sharks. Well, that's to inform. To have an entertaining story or to enjoy an entertaining story. That's entertain. So just remember, when you're thinking or reading a book, I want you to make sure that you're looking for persuade, inform, entertain, and seeing if it fits into those categories. It may also might be to explain, maybe to explain why, to give maybe description. So always be thinking, okay, why did my author write this? What was his purpose? So when we're thinking of author's purpose, with Far Above Earth, so far, I noticed that this has a table of contents. That is a nonfiction text feature. So if I'm thinking nonfiction, I'm also thinking right here already. Well, when we read Living in Space, well, I learned about how they live in space. They sleep, they eat, they work, and they play. And then when we did Waking Up in Space, we learned that look at this little room she lives in. We learned that they have little rooms, and she unzips her sleeping bag. And then over here it says there's no up or down on the space station, so bedrooms can be on the walls, floor, or ceiling. So it's providing you information. It's giving you facts. It's giving you details. So our book that we are working with this week is To Inform, to give information about space. Okay, so always think when you read a book, what is the author's purpose? So now we are going to look at a book, and this is when you are going to do some yourself. Now I just took some notebook paper. Actually, I took my son's journal. I'm going to rip this out because I don't want it to show on the back. Took my son's journal and I made me a chart. So that's all I'm asking you to do. You don't have to have a printer. You don't have to have anything fancy. Notebook paper, something blank. You need to make your 3-column chart. Topic, detail, response. Now remember, you can always pause the video. You can do it after the video, but make sure you are doing it because I'm going to ask you to submit this today. So with this one, we are going to look at this section on page 6 of our book, Getting Around in Space. Now, your job is to think, what is my topic, which we know is our central idea? What are my details? And what is my response to this section of the book? Do I have any connections? Does it remind me of anything? That's what response is. So I'm going to get you started with the topic and central idea, and then I'm going to stop the video and you're going to finish your details and your response, and you're going to upload a picture of it. Okay, so getting around in space. Now, I read the heading, gives me an idea that my topic is going to be about how they move around in space. That's my inference. That's my good educated guess. But I'm going to read this first little bit right here and see if it gives me more information. To get to work, this astronaut just goes down the hall. But going down this hall is very different from getting around on Earth. Okay. So again, getting around. So what I can tell is that my topic, again, central idea, it's going to be astronauts getting, comma, or moving around in space. So if this is my central idea, that means the rest of this page over here is all going to be about how they get around in space. What does that look like? How do they get around? What are some of the troubles that they have? So that's what I'd be looking for. So here is your job. I came up with a topic, central idea. We looked at our heading, getting around in space. We read the first couple of sentences that'll help us make an inference of the central idea of what it's mainly about. Now, I want you to think of the details. I want you to read this next page. I want you to read this paragraph and this did you know section. Then you're going to write down your details, your response, and you're going to upload it into Canvas. I do want you to write the central idea. Yes, I already did it with you, but I still want you to write it down. So piece of paper, make your 3-column chart, central idea, astronauts getting or moving around in space, your details, and your response, and upload it into Canvas.